Period channel. My name is Janitha and I am a solo traveler. In this video, I'll be sharing my experience of visiting Cuenca, Ecuador. I was in Cuenca for 5 days, and so I'm going to be sharing some things with you guys that were pretty much my first impressions, as well as some of the things that I found interesting about Cuenca. Cuenca, I flew on Avianca Airlines from Quito, and the flight was for an hour. You can also take the bus. That is an option. I don't have experience with taking the bus, but that is an option if you want to use the bus for transportation instead of taking a flight. To leave the airport, I booked a taxi. There was a window that I went to, and I had told one of the ladies that I wanted to get a taxi, and she told me to wait outside, that the taxi drivers, they'll drive up and then you just get into the taxi.
I don't know why they're over there though. They're supposed to come pull up right here. Actually, there's a taxi. Yes, there's a taxi coming.
I didn't get a ticket or anything like that. I just had to wait outside, and the price of the taxi was between $2 to $3, no more than $3. Also, to leave Cuenca, I also got a taxi to go back to the airport, and it was also between $2 and $3. So I felt safe in the taxi. They weren't trying to be like little scammers, not anything crazy. So I feel like it is safe to use the taxi in Cuenca. I didn't have any problems, but I only used the taxi twice. The whole time I was in Cuenca, I was walking around. It's very easy to get around in Cuenca. The sidewalks are walkable. They're not as hilly as Quito. And I'm just comparing this to Quito because that's where I came from. In Quito, there are very large hills in the central area, but in Cuenca, that's not the case. Like, it's very flat, it's easy, it's very walkable. There are some streets where the sidewalk can get very narrow, but other than that, it was a walkable city. I stayed in a hostel in the central area, and the central area in Cuenca is not as busy, and it is a small city. It's more of a laid-back city, so I felt very safe in Centro, and I felt safe to walk around at night as well. Let's talk about the weather. The weather in Cuenca is, overall, I'll say the weather is cloudy. That's what I would say overall it is. But when the sun comes out, it is very intense, and then it sprinkles from time to time. When it does rain in Cuenca, it doesn't just pour down rain. It has there's a sprinkle. It's not like a pour down flooding type of rain. It's nothing like that. It's more of just a sprinkle. And when the sun comes out, it is very intense. So you do need to protect yourself from the sun. So wear like some hats, get you a Panama hat, okay? That was something interesting that I had learned while I was in Cuenca about the Panama hats. Not just that they come from Ecuador, but the benefits of wearing a Panama hat. They're really light, and since they are woven with straw, it allows airflow through the hat, and then it also protects your head against the high UV rays in Cuenca. So pretty much in Ecuador. So it's best to wear a hat, and it's best to have on some type of jacket while you're walking around. Make sure you wear sunscreen while visiting Cuenca as well, because even if the sun doesn't feel intense, and even though it's windy outside, you still need to protect your skin. I highly recommend that. You can drink the water in Cuenca. You can drink the water. I did not drink the water. When I went to the hostel, I was trying to buy some water, and one of the men at the front desk, he was like, "Oh, well, you can drink the water here." And I was like, "Oh, no, I'm good." But actually, you can drink the water. The water comes from the Cajas National Park, and it's fresh water. So you can drink the tap water in Cuenca. So that's pretty cool. I still won't drink the water. I got sick too many times, so I still stick to my bottled water. But for those who don't mind, you can drink the water in Cuenca. Cuenca also doesn't seem to have a big tipping culture. If you do want to give a tip, it is 10%. I don't know if like other tourists or other expats give tips. I only give tips when I feel like it's a great tour or if it was great service. So I don't mind giving tips. I know that some expats are very, they don't want tipping culture to follow them into whatever country they're visiting, which I understand. However, I still leave a tip. I leave like 10% or whatever I feel like giving, especially if it's a tour and I feel like the tour guide did a great job. And then for restaurants, I leave about 10%. So it's up to you. One thing I really loved about Cuenca was all of the different vegetation, the lush greenery, and all the beautiful scenery of Cuenca. Like, especially once we were driving to the Cajas National Park, as well as when I went to the Inga Pirca ruins, seeing all the different vegetation and seeing the farms and the mountains and seeing the clouds and stuff. I like even the clouds, even though that's not a part of the vegetation, but just seeing the whole scenery was absolutely beautiful. I absolutely love seeing like lush rural areas. So you'll see a lot of that in Cuenca. So Cuenca does use US currency. They use the US bills, and then they also have the dollar coins as well. You will need to know some Spanish phrases, or you do need to download the Google Translate app. Make sure you have the Spanish language downloaded on the app, because not everyone speaks English, which is understandable because you're in their country, but just make sure you know some common phrases, or make sure that you have the Google Translate app. Make sure you have the Spanish version downloaded. Since Cuenca is such a small city, I felt comfortable going to the market by myself. Normally, I'll go to the market with a tour guide, but I was like, okay, I think I'll be fine going by myself. And I was. Like, the market, it had the produce section at the bottom, and then the top floor is where they had, like, you know, the different food stands. When I got to Cuenca, I was very comfortable recording. Like, if you, I don't know, like when I was in Mexico and also when I was in Quito, I didn't record that much, but once I got to Cuenca, I had like my phone out just everywhere. Like, if you see my videos of like me walking around to the Puma Pungo Museum, that was really my first time getting used to just having my phone out and walking around with my phone out. Just be careful, okay? Be careful. There are people who commit petty crimes, so just be careful. But I had a great experience in Cuenca. I can see why a lot of expats flock to that area. I can see why people retire in Cuenca as well. I want to say like their medical care system is really good. I don't know, because I didn't really look into that. I want to say they have good hospitals in Cuenca. I think that's why some people retire out there. So that is it for this video. If you have any more questions about Cuenca, make sure you leave them in the comments. I enjoyed my visit, and Cuenca is definitely a charming city, and it was a great experience. So until next time, adios, hasta luego, bye. Bye.